Dad's a mining engineer, so he kind of like goes where the company takes him, or like wherever he gets his job. So we were actually in Nunavut for the longest time, and then we moved. Let's see if I can remember this. Went from Nunavut to Honduras because my brothers were born there. Yeah, so we were there for like 5 years, I think, 5 or 6 years, and then we moved to Peru, and we stayed there for 5 years. But we were actually in Quispam for a year and a half, like for my grade 5 year, because that's when the whole economic thing happened. So I don't really have like a hometown, you could say, because I haven't really lived anywhere my whole life, unlike pretty well everyone here has lived somewhere their whole life. But in Peru, everyone's really nice, but everyone's sort of reserved to themselves. I guess that's part of the whole walls around your house thing. Like, you kind of had your select groups or select like amounts of people that you hung out with. Like in Peru, everyone's really family based, so like they kind of hang out with their cousins and their family, and they don't really like sort of just invite anyone over, whereas like here it's sort of like a stereotype, but everyone's so nice. I think the biggest difference is the houses. Like when we lived in Quispam for the year and a half, it was the first time we lived somewhere that didn't have walls around our house. Like in Peru, even in the houses, there's just massive walls, and like it's sort of like a gated community. Like there's different gated communities, but there's nowhere that's like an actual neighborhood. So when we first moved there, we were just amazed. We were like, we can like walk around and like not have to open a gate. Like I thought it was the weirdest thing, but apparently it was just normal for everybody else.
I remember the day that I got my scholarship very, very clearly. Um, I was leaving for New York for the first time in my life that day. And actually, I remember being really, really worried because everyone was posting on like the STU Facebook pages saying, "Oh, I got my full scholarship today. I got my major scholarship. Congratulations to everyone else." Like they were going around to schools and stuff like that. And I was personally banking on scholarships and bursaries and stuff like that. I didn't have money set up to fund university. So I basically spent my entire life working up to this point to hopefully get something in return. And I remember I missed the day that they brought the scholarship to me at my high school. I wasn't at school that day. And my senior year of high school was really difficult for me, so I wasn't in class a lot. And it was just an emotionally trying year. And I remember being really down on myself, thinking like, if I don't get the scholarship, like it's all this hard work wasted. And especially after one of the hardest years of my life. And so I missed the day that they were there. And I got to school the next day and they were like, "We were looking everywhere for you yesterday. Like, we needed you at school yesterday. Like, you were called to the office like 4 or 5 times." And I was like, "Oh, shit." I was like, okay. And that day too, I'd been planning, like I said, to go to New York. And so I called the registrar's office here at STU and I said, "I heard that you guys are contacting me, like, what's up? I'd just like to know." And they're like, "Yeah, well, you received a major scholarship. I can't tell you the full details, but if you call so-and-so, they can tell you exactly what it's about and stuff like that and what you received." And I said, okay, and I called them. And she said, yes, she said, "You have received one of STU's most prestigious scholarships, the President's Scholarship, which is valued at full tuition for 4 years." And it was just like shock. It was like I had no time to process it. Like, she told me this, she's like, "It's in the mail, you'll get it whenever." And I was like, okay. And I went home and I remember sitting on the couch with my mom and we were just sitting there in silence, like looking at my suitcase sitting on the floor and looking at each other and thinking like, what the fuck? Like, in a way, like, what just happened? Like, it was almost like every bit of hard work that I put into this finally paid off, and it was a lot. So yeah, and that really set the tone for me coming to STU. I was really excited. I enjoy that it is a close-knit kind of community, I'm able to flourish and focus on my assets and stuff like that.
We met right outside of Harrington Hall on the first day of Welcome Week in 2014.
Yeah.
And I was running late, as I usually am, and I ducked into the icebreakers late, and I just happened to sit down next to Oliver.
Yeah, I flagged you over because I could see you standing, like, distressed and panicky looking by the side. You're like, I don't know what to do. What's happening? So I was like, come yonder, young dame. Exactly like that.
Yep. So, yeah, I think I was probably drawn to you because you're very outgoing. You were very loud. And that's true. And also, apparently you called me over, which I didn't remember, so that's nice. It's cool talking about stuff that happened 3 years ago.
I just had you so awestruck. What can I say?
We met at the Icebreakers, and then I think we played, wasn't it that night that we played water pong?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh my god, and you were so awkward. Because he was real nervous, apparently. And I was too. I was flipping shit. Because, like, the furthest I had gone with anyone was a kiss at that point, basically. So, and I'd never had a relationship that had lasted more than a few weeks. And I'd never met anyone that I actually, like, really seriously connected with. So I was, like, like, panicking. So I was, like, very, like, sheltered, you know? I was aware of things and, like, knowledgeable in other ways, but I was just, like, totally out of my element. And, like, the first time I was drunk was at my prom, and so I'd never been around really, like, drunk people or people who were, like, seriously interested about getting drunk.
yeah, I remember being very awkward. And I kept sitting down next to you, but I didn't know if I should talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just that weird feeling that everyone gets on their first day, right? And I was like...
You're, like, trying to make friends but not be too pushy. Like, hello, do you like me?
Yeah, and I was like, well, just because this person called me over earlier, I don't know if I should keep talking to them. I don't want to annoy them. But, yeah, we stuck together over Welcome Week.
Yeah. I think it was a day or two after we met that we had, like, a 5-hour-long conversation, which was maybe interrupted for, like, a pee break, but that was about it. And we talked about a lot of stuff. I think you cried, and you're like, I don't cry in front of people very much, and you're, like, telling me everything. Oh my god, and it, like, the drama, like, because, like, the internal emotional tumultuousness, because he was with someone from back home at the time, and we could, like, tell there was chemistry, and there was, like, flirtiness, but then he just, like, told me everything, right? So I knew what was going on in, like, the situation.
So, yeah, I mean, we just celebrated yesterday our third anniversary.
We attended with me attending a funeral. We celebrated by me attending a funeral. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Spent it apart.
So,
Lovely.
yeah, 3 years later, I guess it worked out. I
So
guess. So far.
Yeah, fuck you, man.